time. Whoever's starting the video, start it now. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Rittenhouse monthly event. And what month are we in? We're in October. It's fall in the Northeast. It's funny because we might have people who tune in now from anywhere. You could be from across the state. Our fall colors just setting in, and we have a nice, kind of clear night out. I should have put the telescope out, but we have a full agenda tonight that we wanted to talk about. Before we get started, we're going to change things up a little bit tonight. We're going to start off with Denise, and she'll do the planet report for us. I'll come back and I'll do a little bit, another bit of a sales point, and I'll tell you what I mean in a minute. Then we'll have Roxanne come on after that. And if there's time at the end, and I might come on at the end and do a little bit of the sky celestial highlights. What we're going to do also is when we'll have an official end of the meeting, and that's when I kind of do the clapper again. That's when we're turning off the video because we don't need to record everybody after that. But I always feel kind of odd at the end of the meetings. The past couple of times we get together, it's always bye. And I feel like I have to push people off. Well, when we do this at the planetarium, we never had to do that. We would we'd stay in there until Mike or someone finally said, you got to get out. It's late enough. Let's go. So there's no real way that we have to turn this Zoom portal off. So what I thought I could do is at the end, hang on if you're one of the new members who tune in, and I'll say this again halfway through. What we're going to do is try to show you how the chat function works here, show you how a private chat works. And if you want to talk to somebody, privately, we'll just leave the portal open and play around from that point there. So that's kind of what's on the agenda for us tonight. I'm going to share my screen with you, and I kind of did this when we were coming in. Some quick business, and I'll put it up front with us. You should be seeing my screen now. And we have Roxanne up here tonight, and I've had that posted for a while, but I don't think any of you have seen this because I've just posted up some dates so we can all gather around it. October 26th is when we're going to do the next Astronomical. I'm trying to do those, like, let's say, on alternate weeks between the meeting weeks, and then November 16th. But wait a second, it didn't upgrade here, so hold on. Let me see if I can get a better one. Hold on, let's see. All right. Okay, so Renee, come back. You ready? Here's the rest of the schedule. So November 9th, we're going to do Astronomical again. And then November 16th, we were supposed to be in the Franklin Institute. So we're going to schedule a Zoom event for there. We have a couple ideas for speakers. I have 2 people out, but we'll get back to you on that one. November 30th, we'll do another Astronomical at that point. And then we're going to do a December meeting that's kind of early on December 9th. It's a holiday special, and it's kind of different. It's going to be on Zoom, and our board dreamed this up. I'm going to dress up as David Rittenhouse, and I'll probably have a fireplace on one of these computers next to me, like a fireplace chat. I'd like to do a little bit of a holiday eulogy and maybe a little bit about David himself. But here's where the idea kind of grew. After that, we thought, well, if we're on Zoom, you could make it a drinking game. Every time I drink something, people drink or have a spirit along with us. You might be so inclined to come as a spirit yourself. For example, I mean, you don't need a big costume or anything, but if I was going to do Edwin Hubble, I'd just look for a pipe. If you wanted to come with your pipe and your favorite Edwin Hubble factoid or quote that you want to share, we'll open it up to everybody. So anybody can just get on and share something about their favorite scientist. I know Henry's put an ET head on a couple times at Astronomical. I can imagine him putting an Einstein helmet or face shield on or something like that. So we're just dreaming it up, something to do different called Lift the Spirits. And we're going to do it on December 9th. And we're doing that on a Wednesday night because, well, there's a couple of members that we wanted to get involved with us. Our board got together and we talked about our meetings next year. So for now, Franklin has not reached out to us and they are not open on Monday nights. So just in case everything does come into alignment, we're jumping to Wednesday nights again. We're going to move to January 13th. I think that's a Wednesday. February 10th, that's a Wednesday. We've been doing Wednesday nights for years and years, and we might be able to get some people back, who knows, who are in that Wednesday night format. And besides, if we are contacting the Institute, and that would be one of their open nights, and most likely the least rented evening of the, well, be prepared to be there on a Sunday night. You never know. Anyhow, I'm just joking. I'm just joking with that one. I'm making it up as I go along. Okay, so if you look down the website also, no, not here. Let's go. Muddy Run. We're going to do the live web stream again there. We're doing that on November 14th, and I believe we're scheduled on there for December 19th. Dan, I didn't cross-reference those with the Muddy Run website, but I believe that's where we're at for that. So everybody, if you really want to understand where we're headed in the event, remember we've redesigned ourselves a bit. We're doing two things. We're doing events. That's when we have a guest speaker, and then we're doing forums, and that's when we're all entertaining within ourselves. So that kind of gives you a little bit of heads up of where we're at. Okay, let me see if I can scroll through all the people who are on my gosh, this is like, look at all this. So I know Denise might be out here somewhere. I think she is. Denise, are you out there?
Out here.
Do I want to pass? Oh, I'm going to unshare my screen. There we go. Now everybody's back. And I think at this time, I think Dan, you might be able to mute everybody or something. And Denise, you want to take over?
All right. Well, hi everybody, and thanks for coming to your house. I used to say thanks for coming to the planetarium, but yeah, um, I actually really like Zoom meetings because I love seeing everybody's environment, where everybody's sitting. I love their kitchens, their rooms, their backgrounds, everything like that. So it's always kind of exciting. But hopefully, we will be able to get together again, and I'm going to give everyone a big hug and kiss in 2021. So hopefully next year we'll get there. But in the meantime, let's see what we can see from home. So I'm going to share my screen, and let's see if I can do this without losing everything. And let's see if we can go full screen. So hopefully everybody can see my picture of the Witch Head Nebula. I thought I'd start this off since October is the month for Halloween. And this is a nebula in the sky in the constellation of Orion. It's near the star Rigel. Not sure how great it is in a telescope, but pictures surely you have to use your imagination, but it does look like a witch. Let's see. Here's her eye. That's her eyeball right there. There's her uh, like her eyebrow. There's her nose, her upper lip, her mouth, and her chin. So it's a profile of a witch for Halloween, the Witch Head Nebula. And Halloween actually is an astronomical day. It's a cross-quarter day, and it's the midpoint of the season. So by Halloween, we're going to be in the middle of fall. Just like we have a summer solstice, a winter solstice, and a fall and spring equinox, there are days in between those that mark the midpoint of each of those seasons. May Day, Groundhog Day in February. August 1st is Lammas or Loaf Mass, which is kind of a celebration of the harvest. And then Halloween, where we celebrate those that have passed and all things fun and spooky. And this Halloween, not only is it a cross quarter day, but we also have a blue moon. So that's the second full moon in a month. So we have one of those. We had one at the beginning of the month, and we will have a full moon on Halloween. So I don't know if you're going to have trick or treaters in your neighborhood, but dress up as something spooky and give them out some candy and tell them to look at the moon. So what else can we look at? Well, we have tomorrow a touchdown on an asteroid to bring some sample of this asteroid home. OSIRIS-REx is landing on the asteroid Bennu, and it's going to go live on NASA TV and YouTube channel, and every social media platform will have this. The asteroid is going to we're going to land on the asteroid tomorrow, and I think streaming starts at 5 p.m. Now, I don't think they land right at 5 p.m., but that'll be the hype to it. So if you don't have the NASA TV channel, you can get the app and watch it from your iPad or your desktop or your phone or whatever. You can also go through the YouTube channel, and I'm sure Facebook and Instagram and everything else is going to have information about this. And I was a little disappointed that it wasn't on the evening news tonight, but I thought I would let you guys know anyway. Okay, let's see what else we got. We got Saturn, not the biggest, brightest planet in our sky, but it is really beautiful to look at. Great telescope object, and it's kind of setting early. So kind of last chances to get out there and view Saturn for the next couple of weeks. And the rings of Saturn always fascinated me because it's like a big record around the planet, or at least it looked like a big record. But really, there's, thousands and thousands and probably even millions of small rings going around the planet, and some large ones at the end. But in between the rings, we can see moons of Saturn, which is cool because Saturn now has the most moons. For years and years and years, it was Jupiter, but Saturn now has about 84, so making it the king of the moons of the solar system. And I just thought that was really cool how you could see the moon in the division of the ring there. So maybe it actually is taking some of the debris from the rings and gathering and made that moon. So who knows? We'll have to learn more about that and send more spacecraft out there. And Jupiter, just one of the newer images from Juno, a beautiful image of the red spot. You can actually go to Astronomy Picture of the Day and get the movie that this still image is from. And you can see the great red spot in a telescope. And Jupiter's the brightest thing in the south at sunset. So if you go outside and you see a beautiful bright star that's not twinkling, there you go. That's planet Jupiter. Saturn will be right next to it. I'll show you real quick with my star program at the end, but I want to show you a couple more slides. In fact, this might be my last slide. Mars is the other thing that you should take notice of. It's pretty close. It's under 40 million miles away from us right now. That's as close as it gets. It can get to be about 250 million miles away. And we were just at opposition. Earth and Mars were on the opposite side of the sun, so that means it's visible in our sky all night long. So it's been shining beautifully. You go out there, you can't miss it. It's bright, it's red, and it's pretty high up, so you have a really good view of Mars. I don't know how great it is in a telescope, and maybe Joe or Roxanne or Ted could tell us better if we can see any of the ice caps on it right now on a telescope. As you know, I'm naked eye astronomer, so I really never look at Mars in a telescope. So real quick, let me get rid of this. I think I have to stop sharing, and I'm going to share again. And this time I'm going to go with Stellarium. Now, I have to admit that Ted's Sky Safari looks a lot prettier. It's a beautiful program, but I am using Stellarium if it wants to use it. Are you seeing Stellarium?
Yes.
Okay, you are seeing it because it doesn't say. It says sharing's paused.
We're
Resume
looking
share.
between Rigel and Mars.
Yeah, resume share. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing because it's giving me a problem. Okay, you are screen sharing. Yay. Okay, so let's. Uh-oh. There we go.
It just,
all right.
yep, just
So
zoomed
there
in.
we go. I don't want to look. I want it now. And I don't know why that's down there. I'm sorry about that. I'm going to stop sharing for a moment, everybody.
Take your time, Denise.
Back again. In fact, Ted, you can always show this in your portion of the sky tonight. So Are we screen sharing? No.
Give it a second. Not yet. There we whoop.
No, I'm not screen sharing. So, you know what? Jupiter and Saturn are in the south at sunset. Look towards the east, or excuse me, the southeast, and you will be able to see Mars. I don't know what is happening, and for some reason, I can't get out of my program. Hang on, let me see if I can make the screen smaller. Anyway, if you're up in the morning, I don't want to waste everybody's time. If you're up in the morning, if you can at least still hear me, I'm going to just quit this.
We can hear you. Keep going.
Okay, you can hear me. You can't see me.
Yeah.
Okay. Screen share. Stellarium. Last time.
Yeah, we're on. It just got smaller, but it's there. It's gone.
Screen sharing is stopped as the screen shared window is closed. Whatever. I'll just stop. In the morning, Venus is up. Neptune and Uranus are also up, but you need binoculars at least to see Uranus. And I think Neptune, you probably should have a small telescope. But Venus, you don't need anything. It's up in the morning. And on Halloween, the moon is going to be right near planet Mars. So lots of fun stuff to look at. And hopefully Ted can show you all that stuff in Sky Safari, which in hindsight, I probably should have used because Stellarium was not my
Don't worry, Denise.
But Thank you, everybody. I hope you get out and see some of those beautiful sights. And happy Halloween, everybody.
Hey, and you gave us a really good site to look for, especially on Halloween night. I'll be out there and I'll be thinking about your talk. Hey, don't get worried about it, Denise, and everybody you need to know. You know, we're not video producers, we're not content developers, and none of us were knowing we'd be doing these Zoom shows. I think it's great that she even tries to do that with us. So I'm going to stumble along with you for a second because I'm on two screens, but our board has said that, you know, we should make it a practice of doing this. You should be seeing our website. And everybody needs to know that we have our donation button right up there. Where you can look for it would be this spot right up here. And the reason we are highlighting that for you is because when your membership becomes renewed, that's where you can renew your membership. And what we're doing, and Renee asked me to do this, I now share this out in Wyoming. I think we got some donations out there from it. We're doing this time and time again just to make sure everybody knows. We are a business, we still have bills, so there's where you can help us out. Let me move down the screen a little bit here. Oh, no, don't want to do that. Let me try this. Okay, and just like, oh, I see what I have to do. And just like Denise, I'm just stumbling along here at the same time. And I got to do a mouse tool. Okay, if I scroll down on this one, oh, now I forget what I wanted to show you down in this area. Let's see. We're going back to High Country Lodge. I think I said this in some of the Astrocoras that I was talking about. They invited me back next year. Maybe we'll get Roxanne, maybe we'll get Dan to go. They've both expressed some interest in it. That's going to be on the 10th of 11th, 2021. There are only about 40 spots that you can stay up there on the mountaintop. So you can reserve now. And if you want to cancel, you can cancel up to a month before. They won't take your deposit. Okay, no, someone's asking to unmute me. Can you all hear me? Just shake your head yes. Am I still coming through? Okay, so let me unshare the screen. Um, Kind of interesting how things evolve and how things work with our club. I had first met Roxanne probably about 2 years back, and she was through one of our Muddy Run nights. And we get introduced to a lot of people. Hi, 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 yeah, hi, hi, yeah. And you talk, and off they go. And I don't think I remembered her from that night. And it wasn't until I saw the same woman popping up on the Astrocora thing we started doing. And it kind of interested me because I thought, oh my gosh. And I remembered it when I saw her on the video. I thought, I think that's the woman who I talked to and made some complaints about the Star Party, you know, years ago. And I thought, oh my gosh, and she might be the one who actually helped to host that one. Well, it turns out I bump into her not only here, but I get the chance to go out with her to Cherry Springs. We met up. What an amazing telescope this woman has. It is a beautiful light bucket, a giant size. It's a custom made Dob. She'll tell you more about it. I don't have to say anything more, but I was totally amazed by it. And I think we kind of felt pretty cool when we talked with each other because she had given me some feedback about this Astrocora. And I'd asked her, you know, why she kept coming back. And she just said, oh, I find it amazing. I like how everybody pulls it in. And she gave me some really good feedback when I hooked my telescope up. And I think on that night, I shared M2. And what I did is, from her feedback, when she said, oh, it's really good, Ted, I decided to launch a little bit of a private project called a Celestial Pillow Talk. And what I'm doing, and if you don't know about it, you go to my Facebook page and you got to go there in the next day or two, and I'll make sure that I add you on as a friend. What I do is whenever I go live, I bring you out in the backyard with me. I can't bring my family over anymore or my friends. There's not enough space out there. So I select one or two sites. That's all I do. I talk a little bit about the site. I show it in my telescope. And then I'm putting it together with a private idea I've had called stellar mindfulness. And it's where we get people to relax, we get people to do some breathing, and I've learned some techniques that I can use that incorporate astronomy and stars into it. So you're all welcome to participate. If you haven't seen one, go to my Facebook page. I left 2 of them up there right now. They're the first 2 that I did, and I'll do more. I have some people helping me who are going to get them on YouTube, and I won't leave them all up there, but you're more than welcome to follow along. So, Roxanne, that's a long intro to say, look what you made me do. Now I'm online live streaming through my telescope. You gave me the confidence to do it. So, she's a speaker with the Harrisburg Club for quite some time, and she's one of the movers and shakers out there. I should bring your website up, or you should also want to, if you want to, you can also share your web screen with us when you're done. But right now, I'm going to let her get started, everybody, so we stay on time. Ladies and gentlemen, Roxanne Kamin, and she's going to talk about her night with 5 men and the hooker.
All right. Let's see if we get this to work. Okay. Can everybody see that screen, or is it hidden by the faces on the side of the screen?
I can see your screen.
Okay. Are you seeing full screen or okay?
I'm seeing full
I'm
screen. I have the
full,
people at the top.
full screen here.
Okay, great.
People at the
Well,
bottom for me.
okay, good. As long as people can see what we're doing, super. So, when we're outside, when we're looking at the sky at night, imagine viewing the night sky through the same telescope that Hubble and Einstein once did. These famous people, these famous scientists. Imagine looking through the same telescope that they once did. From the blue snowball to the 4 moons of a distant planet, join me as I share observations and adventures as we travel to Mount Wilson and the Mount Griffith observatories near Pasadena, California. And I'll also let you learn how you can also schedule an observation night or 2 on this historical scout. So join me as I take you on the adventure of Mount Wilson, 5 guys, the hooker and me, a visit to Mount Griffith and the Mount Wilson observatories. And I'm Roxanne Kamin. So could everybody hear that? We're good?
We're good. I could hear you.
All righty. Okay, with the recent fires and storms that have been ravaging our poor West Coast and in California, you may have heard about Mount Wilson, the Lick Observatory, Mount Wilson, Mount Griffith on the news, because Los Angeles and the fires have been out there. So Mount Wilson is outside of Los Angeles. Kind of get your bearings here. We got Pasadena there, and then Mount Wilson up there on the right. A bunch of us flew into Burbank. Burbank's airport, Bob Hope Airport's a wonderful airport, easy in, easy out. It's easier to get in and out of than Philly. It's more like Harrisburg's airport, very easy to get out. LAX is also a great airport to fly in and out. But of course, it's big and congested. It's more like flying out of Newark than anything else. Between Burbank and Los Angeles, we've got Griffith Park. That's where the Mount Griffith Observatory is. And then off into the Sierra Madre Mountains, we had Mount Wilson. So, they say it never rains in California, but it did while we were there. And whenever you make a trip and you want to go to an observatory, always plan on like a day before or a day after. Give yourself a couple of buffer days, so you can make sure you capture that good clear night. So it rained on us, and we made a day and we went to the California Space Center out in Los Angeles. An amazing place, a great museum. As you can see, we looked at the Endeavor, and that is an actual photograph that I took of it. So you are right up close to a space shuttle, and it's pretty amazing. You can see the wear and tear on it. It's the same shuttle that serviced the Hubble Space Telescope, and it was just a great museum to attend to. They also have a Gemini 11 capsule, which is cool because you can see like all the burn marks on it from when it re-entered the atmosphere. The Cassini orbiter off in the corner, you can see the Huygens probe, and you can also look inside of the command module, which I thought was really cool because if you remember looking at SpaceX when it launched just a couple of months ago for the first trip on up to the space station, and how ultra modern that cockpit looked. You know, it's like they were looking at, you know, LED screens, and their space suits were modern, and everything was like push button and such. And then you look back at these pictures of these command modules with all the switches and levers and gizmos they had to work with and work through back then, when in the earlier missions of our mass astronauts. We also took a day and went out to the, let me just quick double check. Okay. Went out into the Coliseum, the Memorial Coliseum, where the Olympics were. That's very famous. We went to the Warner Brothers studio tour for a day. Again, we had rain, so we had to figure out what to do. But fortunately, there's a lot of things to do in LA. These were very easy access to go to drive. I felt safe, I felt comfortable, and it was fine. A part of the crew that went with us, you can recognize Bob Noya there in the white shirt. He was your guest speaker last month. Jim Davis there in the orange, myself in the white shirt, and then Bob Young in the gray. Bob Young has been an astronomer for many, many years. Those of you who've been members of the Astronomical League may remember Bob was their president for several years. Very well-known person, and he loves Mars. He is a Mars man. He can tell you everything about Mars. And that's just a picture with us with a famous Hollywood sign in the background. Mount Griffith Observatory, as we saw on the map, is right outside of LA. Beautiful, iconic observatory. You gotta take a day and go visit this. Famous in many movies, Rebel Without a Cause is there. If you watch CBS News in the morning, the gentleman who does one of the reports in the morning will often broadcast from Mount Griffith Observatory. These are free, they're open to the public, and just a beautiful observatory to enjoy. Again, that's the gang here that made the trip. Jim Davis, Bob Young, Tony Donangelo, Bob Hoover, Bob Noya, and myself. If you're ever up at Cherry Springs and you see a gentleman with a big old 24-inch Star Master and he's crawling up and down the ladder, that'll be Tony. Stop by, say hi. Again, he's very knowledgeable, like a master's level astronomer, and he's always open to help with questions and help you view the night sky. So if you're up at Cherry Springs, you see that 24-inch Star Master, say hi to Tony. Just some views here of the building and overlooking LA. As you can see, LA is in a basin, a lot of smog, clouds. Again, we had rain. I really enjoyed the architecture of Mount Griffith, and so you'll see a couple of pictures with the building architecture in it. That open park area, you may have also heard lately they're having problems with a couple of mountain lions prowling through there and feeding on neighbors' pets. So that it is a big park, and you can kind of get lost in it if you had time. Another view from Mount Griffith, just to give you an idea what it looks like out there. If you've never been out to LA, there's definitely sprawl. Some more views from Mount Griffith with the famous Hollywood sign on the hill in the background. And inside, this is inside of Mount Griffith, that part when you go into the observatory there, when you enter, big, beautiful Art Deco, a lot of beautiful artwork, and just a beautiful, beautiful old observatory to go view. They have a wonderful science section in there, as you would expect, and you could walk around, and they got the planets. You can see Markham's chain and Deerlick group up there on the back wall. And you can just walk around and do all kinds of things, look at things astronomy. And while you're there, you can touch a piece of Mars and a piece of the moon, which to me I thought was pretty cool, because I'm not sure too many people ever had a chance to touch an actual Mars rock and an actual moon rock. So that's something you can do there as well. And we still got cloudy skies out here in LA. Again, beautiful architecture on the building, but we're looking for that little ray of sunshine to come our way. Okay, just kind of a night sky view that gives you an idea how much sky air, light pollution is out there over the LA. Those little dots in the air are airplanes, heavily, whoops, sorry about that. I have an occultation going on tonight. That was my reminder. So you get some idea of when these great scopes are out there, and when we get to the hooker, you can see what they have to compete with and contend with as far as one, moisture in the air, and two, with the light pollution and such. Once people realized we're from Harrisburg, we're here, we're going to be there, we're going to be looking at the hooker. We were kind of local celebrities. A lot of people came up and talked to us. It was a great night. The Zeiss 12 telescope up on Mount Griffith is open to the public. As you can see, there's people milling around on the roof in there, and you can look through that great scope. So that was kind of nice. It was a really fun day up at Mount Griffith. So sky's finally clear, and we're going to be heading up to Mount Wilson. Mount Wilson, as I got noted, is at 5,700 feet. It's not really high. It's about the same, elevation as Denver. You got a 60-inch scope there, a 100-inch scope there, 2 solar towers, the Chara telescope, and a small museum and such. So here's kind of a little map, give you an idea of what it looks like out there. We were not allowed to stay on site at Mount Wilson. We had to go drive back to our hotels at night. Now, if you do go to Kitt Peak does have a dormitory set up, and you can stay overnight at Kitt Peak, which was really a lot of fun going there. That could be a topic of another night. But for Mount Wilson, we did have to drive home. Okay, here's one of the Chara telescopes. Chara's got several telescopes set out across a wide area, California, Washington, Nevada, and so they act like a big scope. Here's one of the smaller scopes in the background. Here's a solar tower. The one in the middle is the big solar tower telescope. If you can imagine walking up that step every single day and every single night when you want to do the solar observing, but the observatory is way up there at night, and that was one heck of a climb up there. So that big telescope off to the side on the right, pretty impressive, isn't it? Nice scope, beautiful scope, but that's the 60-inch scope. You can also rent the 60-inch out here. While we were there, there was a school, a classroom set up, and the students were looking through the 60-inch. Okay, now we're going to go on. We're going to talk about the hooker, which is a great. The hooker telescope is 100 inches. Now, if you got your mirror and you got your telescopes, I mean, think of it as something with a 100-inch mirror, a big, physical, heavy glass mirror. So it's huge. Built again in 1917. It was the world's largest from 1917 to 1949. Many of the great astronomers of the 20th century used it. Hubble, Humason, Shapley, Zwicky, Einstein. And what was really amazing was, as you can see off to the side here, I don't know if you can read it, but that is Hubble's locker. So if you can talk about standing in the steps of giants, it was just to look at the same lockers that Hubble used and Zwicky used, and know that you were standing in the same places that these famous people were, famous astronomers were. It's just amazing to be there. Looking up in the corner there at the dome, it was when you saw those 2 big doors just open up and you're standing there looking at that scope and the doors open up, it just takes your breath away. It's just this massive movement of watching that move. Okay. So here we are looking at the Hooker telescope, and this is just a short shot. Just to give you some kind of idea how big this scope really is, over on the left-hand side of the page, you'll see kind of a desk there, the brown the light tan brown thing, there's a person sitting behind that. Okay. So that's the person, that's the docent. He ran the telescope for us. As you can see, it's on a kind of an alt-as wedge. It's a huge telescope. I don't know, can you see my cursor moving? Okay. This little spot right here is where they used to put the old-fashioned cameras. So I'll show you that in a little bit. So it's really interesting how difficult it was to actually view through this telescope back in its days. But there's the yoke, that's the telescope, that's the truss, the mirrors down there. The bearings for this here actually sit in a pool of mercury. Believe it or not, it's a shallow pool of mercury, and that's the flotation that keeps the drive and the gears going in it. It's really pretty amazing to go down below and see it. Okay, here's a better, on the left-hand side, here's a better view of the hooker. Big telescope, you can see there's a ladder to crawl up. And on the left-hand side of the screen, that is a plate, an imaging plate. And what they would do is they would put the imaging material, like your film, in here. They would bolt this big plate onto here. Somebody would sit here in a chair, and right here is a little eyepiece, and that person would stare through that little eyepiece on the guide star, and by moving these back and forth, these knobs would keep it centered.
A human autoguider.
You got it. And it was usually the low man on the totem pole, which was usually a college student up there helping for the night. But that's what they would do for hours. So when you get a chance, you go see, you know, a museum, or you look at some of these plates of these old photographs that they actually took, you know, on film, emulsive images. You know, think that somebody sat there with the film and looked through an eyepiece and manually adjusted it and manually guided it for hours at a time. So it's pretty amazing. I couldn't do it. I know I couldn't. Okay. Again, talking about going back to the scope gives you some idea of the massive, how big it is. This was our docent, it's one of our guys. I mean, look how huge, how tall. I mean, you don't even come to the bottom of the yoke on that telescope. So the mirror, as we said, is 100 inches in diameter. It's roughly a foot thick. And it's amazing. When you look at it, you can see all the bubbles and everything in it. And it's a big chunk, solid piece of glass. It's plate glass. It's full of bubbles. This scope acts like a modified Cassegrain, okay? Believe it or not, the focus is it's an F11, and it's 134 feet. Okay, it's amazing scope. When you view it, we actually view through this little separate tube here with the eyepiece. They've got it bouncing, the light bounces up and comes through that. And I really couldn't tell you exactly the techniques of it without getting my other presentation out. Okay, your field of view is roughly 5.5 arc minutes, and it's got a pretty good resolving power for that type of scope. All right. Okay, in 2014, it went from, you know, the camera scope, they took that camera, the film holder off the side, they converted it to visual observing. Again, here we got a system of mirrors and lenses, which allows us to view it from the bottom of the tube. So here's the bottom of the scope. They've got the image going up, and then we viewed through that observing tube. Okay, it's the world's largest telescope that is now dedicated to public use. It is, it's pretty amazing. And that's me looking through it with one of my eyepieces.
Your own?
My own, yes.
What
Yep.
one? What one did you? What's your
I'll,
favorite
I'll
one?
tell you. I'll tell you more in a bit.
Okay.
All right. So, so here we go. Just little mechanics. Here's some more on the left pictures of the scopes. This is where the person who operates the scopes stands. Here's the handles he's got to turn and move to get the scope into position. So it's still very much a very old mechanically driven scope. And then on the right, here's just another photo of it. And everybody know Vincent van Gogh, and you've always heard of, you've seen the painting he did of Starry, Starry Night. And he once said that, the night is even more richly colored than the day. If one only pays attention to it, one sees that certain stars are citron yellow, while others have a pink glow or green, blue, and a forget-me-not brilliance. And if you look at Epson Lara, you see the two different colors of the stars. And we look at Betelgeuse and we see the redness of it. So there are different colors. The stars are different colors. And it's amazing when you start looking through the night sky with larger telescopes and these light buckets, as Ted calls them, you can start seeing the different colors of things. So we started seeing, we started our viewing at about little after 6 that night. We rented the scope for a half night, roughly 6 to midnight, or roughly 4 hours, and I'll get into that a little later. And the images that you're going to see in the photos you're going to see are very, very similar to what we saw through the eyepiece. Very similar. I did my best to match what it was. So again, started something simple. Epson Lyrae, both doubles easily split onto the Ring Nebula. It was soft, it was colorful. We could see the central star. We could see notable green and red rings. Alberio, two searchlights, bing, boom, just blazing colors, a blaze orange, a blue flame next to each other. They were just right there, right at you. Each of us were encouraged to put together an observing list. So each of us put together, 5 or 6 things we wanted to look at. And we just kind of went through the list and what we wanted to look at. So the Saturn Nebula was next on our list, Jim Davis suggested we took a look at that, and it was pretty amazing. It was very obviously the blue-green colors. You can see the Ansei. It was definitely there, no doubt about it. And Jim actually took his camera out. Jim took his Canon. I took my Nikon. You put a T adapter on it, and you could pop it right into the scope. So we did get the chance to take photos with our own cameras, which was a lot of fun to play with.
Roxanne,
Yeah.
did you look at your screen? Did you actually see these through the scope? These two
No, these are graphs
photos
I
of it?
had to
Okay,
grab, but they are very, very close to what we saw in the.
cool.
Yeah, I made like little sketches of what the view was, and then I drew the object inside of it, so I knew kind of proportionally what we would,
Cool.
so I could relate to what it was. The observatory, it was cold. It was colder up there than you would think it was. I mean, we were down in LA, you're wearing shorts, t-shirt, flip-flops, and then we went up to the mountains, and I think it dropped down to probably 45 degrees on us. It was really cold. We brought our own lunches. They had a very nice kitchen eating area right below the telescope. So you could just take a break, go down there, get some coffee, get some hot chocolate, eat some snacks, and then just kind of make yourself comfortable going back and forth to the telescope and such. So basically we had three docents working with us. One guy was up on the second level, kind of working the telescope, and then a gentleman that was on the floor with us, just helping us look at different things. But once they realized that we were seasoned observers, um, it was fine. It was great. It was just they knew that they didn't have to show us like, you know, this is Beetlejuice or such. They knew that we had objects to look at, and they just kind of let us go, and which was fun. Neptune was out there. To me, Neptune is one of the most beautiful blues I've ever seen. Whether I see it here from Harrisburg or saw it out there in the Hubble, to me, it's a beautiful blue color. Triton was easily visible. It was great. M2 globular cluster. And I think this is one of Jim's pictures. It just filled the view of that plossel. It was just right there. Again, you're looking at stars, you're looking at colors, you're falling into these globular clusters. We had to see M15, another globular. Of course, these are kind of, these are Messiers, nothing really technical at this point, but we wanted to just enjoy the telescope. Sometimes you go out and you're doing academia and you're working and working. Like I was doing an occultation on Saturday night, and all I got a chance to look at was a little small part of the sky versus enjoying the whole entire sky. And sometimes it's fun just to go back and look at the ones you know and the familiar ones and just enjoy those objects for what they are. So that's why we looked at some just general objects. M15, it's got the nebula planetary in it. It does have a rare type of black hole at the center, so that's kind of interesting. And we did have some challenging conditions for viewing. Again, we had light rain the last couple of days. You could see where we had the light pollution from LA and LAX, and the hooker has to see over that light pollution. One of my favorites, all times favorites, the Deerlick group. As you can see by my chicken scratching there on the left, it was awesome. Absolutely awesome. Spiral arms, companions were sketched in my sketchbook. This is just kind of a little log I have. An impressive view. I would like to encourage everyone when you're viewing, even if it's just a 3-ring binder or a spiral notebook, keep a log of what you look at. Keep a log of what you observe. If something's really cool, draw little pictures around it, because it is amazing how over the years, I'll go back and I'll read my little notebook from this weekend and how much fun it was, or different things you look at and look at M16 here, or look at it from Harrisburg, look at it from Cherry Springs, look at it from Arizona. It's like, wow, did I see this or did I see that? So highly recommend using a notebook. And also in the center there, you can see where we did look at Uranus, and I got 4 moons, and I drew a quick little thing there as to which moons we were looking at. The blue snowball, bright, colorful. We loved it. It was in your face blue, 3-dimensional. The coloring, it was like deep pool of water. The little sombrero galaxy, always a good one to look at, but it was really, for us, it was a soft object view, but we had the edge was kind of hard to define. Uranus was cool. Another planet, we saw it more as a blue blob versus a disk. And Tony was the first one to see the 4 moons. He was a very good mentor and encouraging all of us to search for and try to see all of the 4 moons, which you would see 2 of them out of peripheral vision. But it's pretty cool. I mean, you think about it, you're looking at moons with your own eyes through a telescope around Uranus. Ted mentioned earlier about bringing eyepieces, and yeah, we were allowed to bring our own eyepieces. So that was a lot of fun. Tony brought its 13 ethos along. For those of you who are familiar with the Teleview eyepieces and ethos, it's a nice eyepiece. It was fun. We were able to see, you know, some of the H2 regions, and just looking at the local group in 604, we enjoyed that. Dumbbell Nebula M76, easy to recognize, but was slightly faint. Again, we got so much surface on that, but it was my turn to take photos with my Nikon. So that's the object I imaged with my camera while I was there. That was fun. Now we're getting into a couple of the other things that you typically don't see, other than Gamma Andromeda. Again, the intense colors, the colors that Van Gogh would talk about, the little sparklers of the yellow and the golden yellow and the indigo was really pretty. Mayal 2 was cool. For those of you not familiar with it, again, looking in the Andromeda Galaxy, it is a globular cluster within the Andromeda Galaxy. Okay, so that was what I chose to look at with first light with my Explore Scientific 20 millimeter. It was an eyepiece that I won at Cherry Springs Star Party. So I won that eyepiece. I carried it with me all the way out to California, and saw first light on the Hooker 100 with it. So it was really kind of cool. So again, the Mayal 2, they believe it was a dwarf galaxy that was consumed by Andromeda, not really a true cluster. And I was really happy with the ES20 because it did expand and brighten that quite a bit. Just looking at the core of M31, it was amazing to see the center of the galaxy and to see it fill the entire eyepiece. So that was pretty cool. Right. I'm a carbon star person. I like to look for carbon stars. I love the different colors of them, especially, you know, with Halloween coming up here the end of the month. Take a look at one or two of them. You'll find that the carbon stars will be orange. They'll be either just nice pumpkiny orange, or some of them are almost like bright red, Heinz Crimson Star per se. So it was really fun. These are some of the highlights that we looked at. We did look at several other things, but it was amazing. Just this scope would just gracefully and smoothly just slew to all these different objects. It really was a joy to use. It was fun. Going on to M77, great nucleus, hooked arms. If any of you have ever looked at NGC 1535, you'll see why they call it the Liz Taylor Nebula, because it definitely has that purple center to it. There's no doubt about it. We could see the noticeable blue-green tinge on it. It was pretty amazing. So the last object of the evening, you know, we're getting up there at night and probably around midnight or so. We thought we'd go for the trapezium region of M42. And I'm sure you guys are thinking, like, M42, man, I can see that with binoculars. Like, why am I going to waste my time on a big scope like that going for M42? Well, let's take a look and see. So I don't know if on the screen, can you see, you know, we got the 3 stars, we got the sword, Betelgeuse, Rigel. Can you see Bernard's loop there? It's always kind of cool to see.
Yes, Bernard's Loop. Everything
Yeah,
stands out on the screen very
super.
well.
Yeah.
Is that through that scope?
No, this is just a photo of it.
Okay.
But so everybody's, you know, you're familiar with Orion, and those who aren't, I mean, it's one of the winter constellations. It's one of the funner ones to take a look at. So we went to M42. Yeah, I mean, you look 42, we got the belt stars. We're sitting here, we're looking at the sword. Okay, cool. All right, here's a better one. We're getting a little deeper into it. We're looking into the Orion Nebula. We're catching the nebula. You can see the nebulosity there. Yeah, starting to pick out the trapezium here in the middle. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. Wispy, we're seeing wispy. All right. Yeah, this looks pretty good. A little bit more, a little bit higher power. We are
Sweet.
into the nebula on Orion. Okay. This isn't sky glow you're seeing. This is what you're seeing when you're looking into the nebula on it. And last, this is the view we had through the eyepiece on M42. I kid you not.
Wow.
Bob said, wow, we saved the best for last. Jim said, yep, that wins tonight. We had the famous 4 stars blazing bright, and we could easily pick up, I think we got 3 or 4 more in there, but these
It's like
2 are
it's
fainter
a
red.
double trapezoid.
It was amazing.
It's a beautiful.
Yeah. So we looked into a nursery of young stars, cradled with cloaks and nebulosity, and the magic was definitely there. So it's cool. It was a great trip. It was a lot of fun. Imagine looking through an eyepiece and seeing the going from that view, going deeper into it, deeper, and into that. It was a pretty amazing scout. So here's the gang of us that's here. Bob Hoover, Tony DeNangelo, myself, Jim Davis, Bob Noya, and Bob Young. We all pitched in for a night on the Hooker telescope. Jim. Eileen is Bob's wife. She didn't join us up at the telescope, but she was there waiting back at the hotel. Here's the gentlemen that worked with us. I'm sorry, Jeff, I forgot your name. I'll have to look at my notebook. But Norm, Tom, and Jeff worked with us. Norm gave us a wonderful tour of the whole entire site while we were there. Mike Simmons is with Mount Wilson Observatory. Of course, we had some photos here I wanted to give some credits to. And there's the team that supported us while we were there. Just a little bit of information for you if you're thinking of doing it. Now, a lot of these large scopes are available for rent. Up here at Mount Wilson, the 60 inch is available for rent, and the 100 inch, they're available for a half night or a full night. So, when you think of something like that, or you're out for a vacation somewhere, check around. Kitt Peak has telescopes for rent. A group of us went up to Kitt Peak and picked up on a 24 for a full night, which was great. Just and it's a great way to support these observatories. If you find yourself out in LA for a couple of days, give them a call, see if one of these are available, and you might be able to share time with somebody else or get in with a school group or something and spend some time on these great scalps. Just a little bit of background on where we stayed. We flew in and out of Burbank, the Bob Hope Airport, local, easy in, easy out. It's very similar to like the Harrisburg Airport. It was just easy. I mean, it was nothing like Philly's airport. It's about a quarter the size. 2 of the guys flew in and out of LAX. They had to be concerned about the traffic and getting back to the airport in time. We rented local car rentals, and we did carpool up to the mountain and back. It was really cold, and I think we observed maybe 2 in the morning. I think I got back at the hotel at 3, and I had to catch a 6 o'clock flight. So it was a full night for me. As far as hotels, there's the Hampton Inn, the extended stay inn that was really close to the Burbank Airport. I had a kitchenette. I could walk to the grocery store, the Target. There was a small mall. It was really great. I just had everything right there in my hotel room. I could eat and stay and save on
Roxanne,
food.
did you all meet out there, or did you all travel together from here out there?
We all kind of met out there. just because of everybody's work schedule and such. We left at kind of different times, but we all met out there, and our hotels were really close, like hotel row. So it was easy, except for Bob and Tony. Bob and Tony stayed a little bit farther out, and I forgot because they took an extra day and went out to Palomar, which I didn't get a chance to go to. But they took an extra day, so they stayed a little bit farther out.
I assume you've reached the end. Yeah, Dan,
Yep.
can we unmute everybody?
Well, hold
Is that
on.
possible?
I got something really quick if you get a
Oh, go
chance.
ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
So, if you get a chance and you dig through your old archives, Sky and Telescope, September 2016.
Wow.
There's an article about Mount Wilson, my night with a 100-inch scope. And take a look at that. And Bob Noya wrote an article for Sky and Tel about us up at the Hooker. Earlier, I was telling you about the gentleman sitting there and doing imaging and looking through that little peephole, and yeah, that's a photo of them doing that.
I guess it's the intern sitting there looking through the.
That's nice.
And here's just kind of a run through of the different things we looked at, very similar to the list I went through with you.
Right.
And it tells you a little bit about Mount Wilson. So if you go back through Sky and Tel, September 2016, you'll see the article that Bob wrote about us and put it in there. So that's it for my pitch.
Hey, so we have a bunch of
questions?
people online. If you guys have any questions, we can do that now.
All right, I will stop my share and it's back to you.
And you're back to, you should be able to on your computer get a galley view so you can see everybody.
Yep, I'm back.
Anybody have a question they'd like to ask? I don't want to dominate with a couple that I have.
Okay, if nobody's going to step forward or anything. First off, there's absolutely nothing like eyeball astronomy because that's what I've been doing. I mean, imaging is fine and stuff, but when you have bright stars against a black background, that's just, it really, I mean, I saw Orion Nebula through, it was like a 15-inch, and it had a three-dimensional effect. It's almost like if you had a glass of water and you poured milk into it and lit it with like a blue light. It had a three-dimensional feel to it. That's the first thing. The second thing is the Hooker telescope is a yoke mount, and it seems like, pointing straight up is fine. Any Dobsonian sort of gets a little bit iffy when you get it in an almost vertical position. I just wanted to ask you, when the scope was running, did it sound smooth, or how was it? Because, how was the maintenance and stuff on the scope?
I thought it felt very smooth. I mean, really just, I mean, you'd sit in that room and it would just move, and it didn't ratchet, it didn't grind, it was a smooth running scope. I thought they took very good care of it. Of course, it's aged. You're going to see some rust spots. You're going to see some deterioration. In fact, I was at a telescope this weekend, a 30-inch refractor, and they had paint peeling off the ceiling that was falling on us. So, but I've got to say that the Mount Wilson was, to me, the overall site was in very good shape and well taken care of. I thought the scope was in good shape.
I'm afraid to ask how much it was.
Somewhat pricey.
Okay, were we talking 5,000, 3,000?
Yeah. For a full night, for an 8-hour run, it'll cost you $5,000.
Okay.
Okay, what we did is we did a 4-hour run, which was a half night, which was like $2,500, $2,600, but we split it between the 5 of us.
Okay.
So when you split it between you, the cost drops dramatically. So yeah, you got to factor in everything, but it wasn't that bad of a cost per se.
Wow.
Now again, this is just just one site. Okay. Kit Peak was significantly less. We rented a scope there, and I think it only cost us maybe $1,000 for the whole night. So it was $250 each. McDonald Observatory now is open and going to be allowing their scopes to be rented out. So there are different places. So if this one's outside of your price range, there are others to look at. And I really encourage people to use these great scopes when you can. And if you don't do the 100, try the 60-inch, see if that's, get a group. Trust me, if you guys want to go out there, I'd be more than happy to go out there again, because it was a great trip. So there are other scopes out and available that you could rent.
Did you use is there a weeknight cheaper rate, or is a weekend a premium?
Basically, they book you for 3 nights.
Okay.
And whatever those 3, it's basically your week. Whatever night during those during those 3 nights, that's the best for you. That's what you roll with, and you go with and go.
Is the hotel up near the observatory, or is it a long drive
It's
down?
a long drive back. It's not during the day it wasn't that long of a drive. But at night coming home after a long day on the scope, it was a long drive. But we all piled into 2 cars and carpooled, so it wasn't, we watched each other, so it was okay. Offhand, I don't remember how long it was, if it was an hour or 2. I don't offhand remember.
Wow. Any other questions out there? I see a bunch of squares there. I don't know if they're really there. They might be. Could be listening
No,
in.
come on. Where's Henry? Henry usually has a question.
Yeah, I know. I saw him
where's
here somewhere
Henry?
too. He was here. In
He's
fact,
on
as soon
mute.
as you ended, he up there is back. As soon as you ended, he kind of popped out.
All right.
Are you outside, Mike?
No, not actually, but
Oh, okay.
virtual backgrounds are a
The
great
virtual
thing.
background.
All
Okay.
right.
I wanted to
All
make sure
right.
you know, I was actually here and was listening and had a great time. Roxanne, thank you very much. That was an amazing
Thank you.
presentation.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Roxanne,
Yes.
do they use like setting circles or anything to find objects, or is that electronic now, or how do they do it?
I'm not sure how they did it, how it was modernized, but I know on the operations table, he had like a 24-hour clock to help turn it. But I'm not sure what they did, how they have it set up now. I really don't know. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Go on the website. Let's go. It was fun. It was interesting because like I said, this past weekend I was out at Allegheny Observatory, and they have a 30-inch refractor. So for those of you, and I can show a photo of it at the next Astroquarium, that telescope is 47 feet long. Okay, that's a long scope. And they actually had huge setting circles on it. And they had a red light bulb, and you would physically manually turn the scope and line it up to where the red light bulb was showing. That was pretty amazing doing that. So I'll bring some photos to next month's Astroquaria on that
Well,
one.
thank you. So Roxanne's just plugged for us Astroquora. We share stuff. There's no real agenda on that. And everyone who's a member, you're more than welcome to sign in on that. It's been pretty cool. And that's where I learned how to put a telescope into the Zoom application. I practiced right there. Before I do a little bit of what I've been working on with we usually close out, if we were really in the planetarium, with a little bit of a celestial highlights. Any other questions for Roxanne before I do that? And before I do that, for people who might have just come in on this one, let me see if I can do this once again. our board has asked us to remind everybody that, remember, we still are running our organization in the background. And when you like what you see, if we haven't reached out and contacted you, our membership and donation button is right about there. And again, you're not limited to just the $35. That's the membership. You can make a donation there anytime you'd like to. Okay, let me get rid of that. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to switch over and just make sure everybody can still hear me because I'm on 2 PCs to do this. What I'd like to do is see if I can share my screen over here. Oh, so wait, I got
I
to
hear
give
you at least.
I've got to give myself permission to share the screen because I didn't do that. Give me just a second here. Okay. And I'm not getting that option. Oh, I see. All right. Sorry, I might lose
Ted, do
all.
you still have everybody on mute? Because I see a lot of mute buttons.
Yes, I did, but I don't know if we can unmute them all with one button or not.
We're not all muted. It's just some of us are muting ourselves so you don't hear the background noise while you and Ted are talking.
Okay, no, that works for us. All right, let me see. I can share content now on this screen. And I'm hoping you guys are going to see my screen top come up here in a second.
Yep,
And,
looks like it.
okay, thank you. All right, so, and can you hear me too?
Yeah.
Yep.
Because I'm talking on one computer and working on another.
It's
So
great.
this whole bit about putting the video camera into the telescope makes you look at the sky totally differently. And recently I was wondering, okay, if I do another one of these celestial pillow talks, what are we going to look at? And what I was looking at it was, if you look right now, it's 8:41. I think that's the real time. So this would be outside right now. And if I had the scope out, it kind of reminds me, it's like, okay, last chance for summer looks of the sky. Because remember, as it gets darker earlier and earlier, we still have that summer triangle right over top of us. So one of them I have practiced on, and if you want to see me do it sometime on that Celestial Pillow Talk, so I get to put a plug in too, is M29. And what's kind of interesting, it's inside Cygnus the Swan. Summer Triangle up here has, oh, for the beginners out there, it has 3 stars to it. The tail star right up here is Deneb. The real bright one down over here is Vega. And over here is Altair. If you're only a binocular viewer, I think the area you might want to look in a little bit more interesting is over here. Lyra is generally a beautiful area to tool around with binoculars. And the one thing your binoculars can probably pick out is the triangle within the triangle. This is Vega, the real bright one that you see right here. Over here, a second star in a small triangle formation, and over there is the famous double-double. If you ever want to check how your telescope is working, some of you might know this, the double-double is a really good one to check if your alignment, your alignment on your scope is proper. And let me center this for a second, and you'll see what I mean. So when you're looking at your double-double, if your alignment isn't that great, what you start to see is like an elongation. Do you see how underneath where it says double-double, the 2 stars kind of look like they're underlying the D, and the other 2 stars to the left of your screen, they look like they're kind of vertical? Well, that's, if your scope only gets to see about that good, it's not aligned properly. Got to go
Or the
back and
seeing's bad.
or the seeing could be bad. Very good, Joe. Thank you. If the seeing's bad, but if you go in a little bit closer, here you go. You can split the doubles. So double, good way to check your alignment on your scope. And if you're not using a scope, beautiful spot to see a triangle within the summer triangle, a double triangle.
Excuse me, Ted. I just wanted to
Yeah.
say, if you want to check the seeing, take the star and throw it way out of focus. And if it sort of swims, then you can know for sure. You'll see it if you
Yeah.
throw it. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. In fact,
Yeah,
you
really
know,
looking.
and here's something odd, and I think Al's listening in. I've actually found if you take the stars out of focus a little bit on when you're using a camera, then the bright ones really will stand. It's like cameras are so good that, let's say you take a picture of this area of the sky, Vega doesn't stand out as much because it starts to pick up the light from all the stars around it also. Just by unfocusing ever so slightly, or changing your binning rate, putting it down so it's not as sensitive, makes those bigger stars pop. So the reason I was looking at this M29 again is because I remember one day Derek calls us up and says, "Oh my gosh, you got to do a telescope party for Mayor Nutter, and they're going to put you on Dilworth Plaza." And I don't know if you guys know where Dilworth Plaza is. It's right underneath the armpit of City Hall, and we had so many floodlights over top of us. The only 3 stars we could see in the sky above us were the Summer Triangle. And I was smitten because I just thought none of the objects I thought we'd be able to see would actually cut through that light pollution. But I happened to be tooling around Saturn, which is the center star right here of the what some people like to call the Northern Cross. And I'm going to go right next to there. There's M29. I'm going to center this one for us. And what I'd like to do is go in a little bit because I'm going to present this when we do the pillow talk as 9 roving yellow giant stars. Um, the best that you can see in a telescope really are about 9 or 8 stars. It looks to me when I first had seen it like if you look at sideways at it, it looked like a nuclear cooling plant tower. And I also imagined it once to look like a little, like a jewel box, maybe a music box that you would open up. But you could only see the brightest of the stars. But at least we were able to see that in town. So I went back with a camera and started playing around with this. And you really do pick out about 70 to 80 stars there. It's a beautiful cluster. And it's bright enough that if you're ever trapped in a light polluted sky and you want to have something that'll punch through the pollution, because you're looking at the stars and they tend to be bright enough that they'll stand out. Now, the trick about M29, very, very tiny. You're talking less than the size of Mars in the sky right now. So very tiny when you find it, got to magnify it. And you can magnify the heck out of it if it really does stand out. So there's one for you if you're in a light polluted backyard. Another one in a light polluted backyard. I think it's M39. I'm just tooling around. Yeah, it's up in this area somewhere here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll find it. Let me give me a second. Hold on. It's weird because I gotta. There you go. Way up here. This one really does stand out well. If you're trapped in your backyard, let's center this one. Bring it back into view for us. I know it doesn't look much here. I see like a triangular shape when I look at it with my binoculars, and I don't know if I'm just picking up on some of the stars or not. So that's another one I might try to practice to image. With a video camera, it should stand out in the sky pretty nicely. Now, Al made a recommendation for me once, and it's up in this area somewhere. So maybe you guys can help me out.
M56?
No, Al was the cocoon.
Which Al? Al or Alan?
Oh, Al Ryan. It was the cocoon.
Al.
It was the Cocoon Nebula, and I didn't do it yet. But Al, and because Al had, I see it up here now. I think this is the one, Al. If you're there, you can always chime in and tell me. This will be one I try because Al had said to me, Ted, it's bright enough you might be able to catch it in your video camera. So let's take a look at this one. And so bright enough would mean, do you guys see the info? Okay, you see the info screen. So visual magnitude of about 7.1. So I'm not so sure this would be something I could recommend to any of you underneath city lights. And remember, really, really tiny, object there. But he says it's bright enough. We'd be able to pick that one out up in the sky if you're using a camera, trying to cut through up there also.
Right off.
Now, I don't know if Denise is still in there in the background. Her favorite. She's the coat hanger cluster. The coat hanger is here. It is better in binoculars. I have tried to do this with a video camera. Problem is that you just can't get the bright stars to stand out. Wait a second. I'm sorry. I hit center and I must have been on the wrong object. There we go. There we go. And center it. And here we go. So right now the coat hanger I think is upside down, and it's a flat pants coat hanger. It's not a coat hanger like everybody thinks, like it's going to have like a triangular shape to it. Think of a bar, and I believe the hook is hanging down from it right now. I don't know if I can, I can't really turn that around. That's an easy one to catch with binoculars. And here's your clue. Altair you can see in town, Vega you can see in town. Divide that into thirds, and coat hanger is about 1/3 of the way along that line between the two. 2/3 gets you over towards, do you guys know? What's over 2/3 of the way? Ring Nebula. Okay, so And this is one, everyone who has a first time telescope, you want to bite your teeth on this one because it's bright enough that most people can find it. Just don't let it surprise you. The thing is, it's very, very tiny. So when you look out there, you can actually find the two stars that it's between in Lyra, this one over here, whoop, these two bright ones on either side, Sheilak, Sulafat. I haven't practiced those. And Ring Nebula is just about halfway between those two. And that's a good guide to be able to find it with a telescope if you're tooling around there. Again, very, very tiny. It's going to look like, oh, when you first look for that and you're looking at a scope, it's going to just look like a star that won't focus. So if you're looking at the field between those two stars at the bottom and you find one star that just doesn't seem to focus, that most likely is going to be the catch for Ring Nebula right there. Okay, so the reason I'm looking over there is because they're just a little bit to the west of the southern meridian. When you look along that green line, the zenith is up at the top there. That's the highest spot that you see in the nighttime sky. And down here towards the south, that's southern meridian. When things are crossing that meridian, that's when they're reaching their brightest that you're going to see. That's when you're looking through the sky that's most transparent. And so odd that you looked at M2, Roxanne, through the Hooker telescope. And then I picked that as my very first object to do in that celestial pillow talk. Kind of weird. I don't know why I picked that one. I was actually trying to start at the beginning of the Messier list. M1 wasn't up yet at the time. So I just thought, well, let's see. But if you look above that one, and she mentioned it in her talk, oh, everybody, this really is the time of the year to go for M15. M15 is globular cluster, a very tight one. In fact, it is suspected there's possibly a black hole in that one that might be down towards the core. So I was doing a little bit of research again about black holes in these things. There is evidence of star collapse in various globular clusters. Don't get the idea that there's a black hole in the center holding the cluster together. That's totally erroneous. There are black holes in there because so many of these stars have died. Remember, they're first generation stars. So the oldest ones that have died have left behind a black hole. In fact, it's suspected that we might find binary black holes in these clusters because there's so many stars that have died. The most common thing that we see in the cluster, and I'm pretty sure this map is not correct. You see how it makes a whole bunch of white dots right there in the center? I'd be interested to know if that's real or if that's really just an effect that they're putting in the picture right there, because it almost looks like an overlay. You see the white dots over a photograph that's in the background right there. So M15 might be one of the ones that I do in that celestial pillow talk. That's an easy one to image because it's going to be bright but very, very compact. And here's another one. I'm just tooling around that upper meridian for some of you who want to look through the thinnest of the atmosphere. Over here, here's that heart nebula. Okay, so it's not a heart. It's called M71, and we've we've used this up at the Hayden Planetarium for the Cupid arrow. We call that the arrow of Cupid, and M71 could be the heart that the atom skewers. Now, I've looked at it again recently. I tried it with the video camera, and I could swear that when I look at it in a telescope, it had a little bit of a heart shape to it. And I'm not talking a Valentine's heart. I was talking like maybe a real human heart. So for a couple of years, I actually said up there at the Hayden Planetarium that, what's kind of interesting is the coincidence that it almost looks like a bit of a heart with an arrow skewed through it. There was a big debate for years and years over M71. It took a lot of observation. It's so loose that they thought it really might just be a tight open cluster. And it was then added to the globular cluster list after longer observation. And they found that the stars were gravitationally attracted to each other. So M71, one of the loosest of the clusters up there. And I like to call it that broken heart globular right there above us. So for photography buffs, I've never tried this, and maybe this will be something that I go for. I remember Bill Murray up at the Princeton group, and we spent 6 or 7 hours outside imaging this guy. And it is part of the Veil Nebula. This one's called the Witch's Broom. It looks kind of like a broomstick at the top part of it, and then it fades out into this broom-like look down below. But this was the very first time I did my little biting my teeth on. I was the guy who was the helper, so and thank gosh I didn't have to stare through a scope the entire time. But I did help on aligning the scope there and then checking out his guide scope, which wasn't directly connected. But we did a 4-hour exposure, and it was the very first time I actually did an astrophoto, something like that in the sky. You remember things like that your entire life. Okay, so I think, and of course Mars over here. I did try imaging this again recently, and there was a question earlier on by Denise, and she was wondering if you could see the polar cap. I don't know if Brendan is still on here. He was one of the moon men. He was observing it about, I think, 2 weeks back, and he thought he could see the polar cap at that time, or maybe
Yeah,
if he,
I did too.
okay, so Joe saw it
That was a
also.
couple of weeks ago.
But I tried again just like 2 nights back, or maybe 3 nights back, and I wasn't seeing it. I was able to see some detail on there. Oh, and by the way, if you're wondering like what type of detail do you really see? Oh, yeah, I lost Mars. Give me a second. I'll find it. There we are. Sorry, I'm jerking everybody around out there. I'm glad you're not in a planetarium. Your heads would all be spinning. Okay, so and Joe, here's a good question for you too. Do you think Mars and the features that it shows here are really lined up with real time what you'd see? Like if I
Yeah,
take that you think they are?
they are. I mean, I've actually compared them, the scope versus the sky
Okay,
supply.
because I was comparing it the other night and I thought they were matching up. And I think you
Yeah,
had said that Jupiter is sometimes a little
no,
bit
they don't
off.
have the great red spot. The great red spot is wrong, but that's a floating target, the great red spot. You have to constantly update it.
Okay.
Whereas
So
Mars has a very regular rotation period that's easy to predict.
So what you can expect to see, folks, if you're looking at Mars in your telescope, remember it's going to be much, much smaller, more like this in your screen, and you'll see those little grayish markings. That's about it. It looks like little, it
Yeah,
almost looks a little bit like a grayish band towards the bottom, but let me see if I can see this one. One of the deserts that comes around always really stands out to me. Here we go. It'll set probably before that happens. There you go. It's that region up there. Anyone know that one coming around?
here comes Sirius Major.
Cirrus
Yep,
Major.
and we just set. Okay, Cirrus Major.
Sirius, Syrtis.
Okay, the large dark area
That thing
towards the
looks
top.
like India hanging down or
Yeah.
whatever. You
So
got
to me,
Hellas and then,
that's the most obvious feature on Mars.
Mhm.
well,
That's
yeah,
the
Yeah, that's the big one.
Okay, that's the one I'm able to pick out pretty easily. Other features I really can't pick out at all, but I can see that one. And yes, you're right, Joe. When I was looking at it, whoops, I'm back to now. It was linked up. It was timed showing me that. So you say that the red spot's not like if I were to look right now at the red spot, it wouldn't guarantee that it's out there on the planet at this point.
no, because it's just wrong. Sky Safari just doesn't update the red spot like it should.
Okay,
I don't know how they
gotcha.
do it.
Right. Because
Like
yeah, I
it's
have noticed that one was
you
off.
got to go to WinJupos to get the latest on that.
Okay. So there's Mars over there, everybody. And like Denise said, it is really bright coming up in the sky. And I wanted to just keep the talk in that area because it really is kind of the last of the summer. If you wanted to reach over and possibly catch M13, you can still do that while it's setting. If you look down, well, already at 8:30, 9 o'clock, let's back up a little bit though, just for a bit. Because if you set up early, you're still going to lose the center of the galaxy early on in the evening. By the time you really get into astronomical twilight, the core is gone. Jupiter and Saturn are setting. So we turn our eyes into that fall sky over there, and of course, winter's peeking its head over the shelter right there. Already at 9:45 or 9:30, the Hyades, the Pleiades are up. For those of you with binoculars at home, those are great clusters. Get out and take a look at those. It's always great to just sit out with a pair of binoculars. And I don't know how many times I've looked at them, but they still keep attracting my attention. I got all the nomenclature over top of everything here, but those two star clusters definitely rising over there in the east. Nice time to be able to see them. Okay, so that was a little bit of what I've been working with, and like I said, I'll do it again this Celestial Pillow Talk, and if you want to tune in there, and we'll actually go out and take a look at one of the objects. So let me see if I can remember how to stop sharing my screen here. All right, and I got to get back into Zoom, and let's stop the share. All right. And I think we can now open it back up so that everybody's on your screen. If you are not everybody on the screen, we're coming up on 9 o'clock, and that's actually good timing because I can use this clapper to close the meeting officially. So Dan, are you out there somewhere? Can you hear me?
I'm here.
All right, so I see Dave's coming in. Dave, look what I
Yeah.
got. Oh boy, wait. There it is.
Yeah, because I got something to share with you too.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
there
Do
he
you want
is.
to? All right. Do you want to go ahead? Dave Walker, take it away.
Okay, wait a minute. Let me find the stupid connection to share screen.
Oh, I got to give it to you. Hold on. I got to grant people permission to do this stuff. Okay, so now I'm not getting it. I should be able to.
Otherwise, I'll just copy and paste it into the chat or whatnot.
No, don't. I'll take it. Give me a second.
Up there, I see it. Okay. I took this last week at opposition. Oops, host disabled.
Yeah, I know. Hold on. I was going to do it. Dave Walker, got it. Reclaim host. Go ahead. You're the host now. Or wait.
Nope,
Give it
still
back
kicked.
to me. Dan, are you back there hiding behind your screen?
I'm here.
Can you share with Dave? Let him do a.
Only the host will be able to.
Oh,
If
the
you
host is
make
over
me
here
host.
now. Hold on, I know what happened. For me to talk on this other thing, I had to give that the host. Dan McCormick. Sorry guys. All I'm getting is the chat now, Dan, when I go to you, host. I'm not getting the more link. Let's try it over here. Give me a second, everybody. So what's weird, Dan, is it's working differently now.
You broke it.
Yeah, I know. Dan, it says you're a co-host. I don't know how else to do it, how to
Only
change
the
it.
host can make somebody a co-host, though.
Okay, so that's
If
me.
you make me host, I can give it to them.
Yeah, I know, but I'm not given any choices there. Oh, hold on.
So if you ever hover over his name and click more.
I know. That's what I'm doing.
There, I just dropped it in the chat.
Okay, well, hold on. Sorry.
I can share it from my end if you want.
Dan Moore, make host. You're the host, Dan. Take it away.
Okay.
Sorry. Get it out of my hand.
Make host. There you go, Dave. Should be good.
All right.
Okay.
Can you share it now, Dave?
Yep, hang on. I took this the night of opposition.
There we go.
You can see Mars right there underneath the 737.
Oh, wow. So it's a blinking light. The blinking lights of the 737 going over.
Oh.
Mars is just below.
Yeah, Mars is just that one bright dot below.
Cool shot.
That is.
Yeah, it was pure luck. I was like trying to wrestle with my camera to get it in position just in time to make sure it was in frame.
Is this just outside your home?
Yeah, but my tripod is knackered and I need a replacement.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to swing it around and get it in position to get everything lined up. And it was not cooperating.
Never does.
How long was the exposure?
That one is, I'd have to check the EXIF, but it's either between 8 and 15 seconds.
Okay, that sounds reasonable.
When I'm doing airplanes, I try and shoot for that because that gets the best trail marker.
Okay.
And
Wow.
how do you know it was a 737?
Yeah, but, well, I could visually identify that. You can't see that in the picture, but while I was standing under, I could see it.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Does anybody have any pictures they wanted to share? I never thought of that. Does anybody have pictures?
I took a whole bunch for the Mars opposition. There it is without the airplane.
Okay.
And you can really get that nice copper color.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you're probably on the night of opposition, right?
Yep. And you can see all the lovely sky glow I have to deal with in my neighborhood.
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
And that's Saturn and Jupiter.
Cool.
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing because other people probably have things to share.
No, that's actually good. Thanks. I didn't think about that. Well, I don't know if I can pull my picture of Mars up that quickly, so I don't know if I want to. I won't try that. Anybody else have a picture they want to share? So, officially, Dan. So this is when we stop the timer. I'm going to stop the event right now officially. And what we'll do is that's when we'll probably cut the video when it goes online. If you've had enough of us and you want to sign out, now's a great time. Feel free. If you want to wave and say goodbye, you can. What we were going to do though is I said I was going to leave this thing on for a bit. And I don't know if you guys have ever played with the chat function. I see that some people have been playing with it while we were talking there. So what I'm going to do is just so everybody gets an idea here, there are two ways you can chat if you've never noticed it. Dan, what's an easy way for me to tell them to bring the chat room up? Does it work different on iPad versus computer?
iPad, I think you have to click on more and then chat. If you're on the computer, if you just move your mouse on the window, you should have a chat button down at the bottom.
Okay, so yeah, so you have a chat button down the bottom. And what I'll do is there's two ways to chat. You can actually chat to everybody. So I'm just saying, hello all. So that chat just went to everybody's box. You should have all seen it. And if you look where it says to everyone, and there's a little drop arrow there, you'll see that all the people who are on, they're all listed right there. So you can actually go to everyone, or you could just go to a certain person who's here. Check it out. I think I've got it right. Does everybody see that? So if you can, if you want to chat with some folks now, it's okay to do that. If you want to just try to chat out loud here, you can. That gets kind of odd because everything goes crazy at once, but you're more than welcome to talk for a bit. And if you want, I have about 8 minutes of a celestial pillow talk in the background I can always play to put you to sleep with. And here's a good story, Roxanne. So I did this because you had said to me, oh, I really like how you talk about that stuff. And I started doing it online. And the only people I really hoped would tune in is my sister and my mom. And I'm trying to get them to do some breathing with me. So I did some mindfulness or some breathing exercises. And my sister comes and sees the second one and she goes, oh, I'm so disappointed. And I said, why? And she goes, I saw that beautiful picture that you showed and I fell asleep. And I was like, score. I said, that's what's supposed to happen. You're supposed to fall asleep during it. I said, doesn't matter if you make it to the very end. You just kind of like, you just drift off at the end. So she doesn't like the format because it puts her to bed. But the idea, everybody, is you're supposed to like, curl up, look at your screen and just enjoy the picture that comes down, take a drink or, do some meditation or some mindfulness. So if anyone wants me to play something like that, I can. But before I do it, I just want to leave it open for everybody else. And you can also just mute yourself if you want to and chat to people in the background at the same time. Let me see if I can line this up in the background. I'm going to shut up for a minute. And if you guys want to talk, you're more than welcome to. Or you can chat to each other. And let me see if I can.
Well, I am heading off to eat dinner, so it was nice to see everybody.
Okay,
Good
Mike.
seeing you, Mike.
I will be looking forward to future visits.
Mike's already
Yep.
watched a couple of the
See you later.
Celestial Pillow Talks, so you're not going to miss anything that I'm going to play, Mike. Good time.
I'm sure I've probably helped you curate that music playlist too. So.
Yeah, right. Take care. Good night.
or at least help you get it on your iPad.
You got it.
I gotta call it a night as well. I've got an occultation tomorrow at Wednesday morning at 2 a.m. So I'll be traveling tomorrow to Wilkes-Barre to the Fieldman Observatory. So yeah, call it a night here tonight, guys.
Well, hey, before you go, I just want to say thank you so much for a great talk. I can't wait to watch it in video again. I do, and it'll hold up. So I thought, okay, this is good. This is interesting. I'll be able to watch it a second time too. So thanks for doing that.
Well,
Have you done it a couple? You've done it a couple times, right?
Yeah, I've done that one a couple times. I've got
Okay.
another one on.
Nice.
Yeah, if anybody's interested, I do have a presentation on imaging Pluto, which was kind of cool. A group of us got together. I used a 24-inch Richie Criken down at Liberty University, and I imaged Pluto for a NASA project, which was fun. So
And real quick
Way
before you
cool.
go,
Way
I just
cool.
want to throw an idea out that came from one of our members. Does anybody think if we met in a movie theater, we could have 20 members get together? And what movie would you want to see? Because they're now renting all the AMC theaters out here. I think the one up in my neighborhood is $99 for a weeknight, and you can put 20 people in the theater. And I just got the idea, and I don't know who's left here. I got the idea, what a cool astronomy outing to have 20 people meet and do, like, maybe they say you can select the film. I'll bet you there's some sci-fi film we might be able to share, but think on it, everybody. It's a new world, it's different things. I have one member who's saying to me, we got to meet, you got to get this thing going together. And yet there's nobody at the Franklin there to even meet with. So we're kind of hung in limbo right now. But thank you so much, Roxanne. You made
Oh,
it very
thank
entertaining
you.
night
Thank
for us.
you.
Thank you,
I
everyone.
don't
Thank
thank
you,
you.
Rittenhouse. I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Take
And
care. I
we'll
don't want to
catch you
hold you
next
up.
time.
Yep.
All
Feel
right.
free
Good
and ask
night now.
Takora.
All right. Good
Good
night,
night.
folks.
Take
Good
care.
night, all. Yeah,
And
my
okay,
battery's running dead. I'm gonna log out now.
go ahead. Take care, Dave. Thanks for
Good to see
sharing.
you,
Thanks for
Dave.
coming in. Yep.
And I love seeing that head popping in and out of Manny's background.
It's only when Manny reaches over. If Manny touches Chuck, he appears, and then if
Yeah,
he
no, it's like
wait for
chucking the
you.
gears. It's like he's being ground up or something.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, it's like off he goes.
Okay,
Take
all.
care, Dave. Thanks for
Before I
stopping
die,
by.
I'm out.
Yep. Take care.
Good night.
All right, let's see. I have one in the background. If people do people want to talk, or do you want to take? I can play it for like 10 minutes or so. Let's see.
Oh, Ted,
Yes.
you say you need the information for your house, the budget.
Oh. Well, I think you're in our database, but just give me. Is it okay putting a telephone number out on this? Give me a telephone I can reach at.
Okay, it's a 215
Right.
817 7935.
I've had this clock worked on twice. I bought it at a craft clock place up here in Bucks County, and I don't think the gentleman's there anymore to do it. And I just thought, well, if you do it, it's working. Everything's working fine. I just want to keep it going. And I
Okay.
know because he had said to me, you got to maintain these things, you got to lubricate them, you got to take care of them. So
Yeah.
think of it as a care visit for me, if you would. Okay.
Yeah, you know what? I went to what was his name? Al Duroff's house one time,
Right.
and I looked at his clock. It was actually a mess. It was like almost like cobwebs. It was all dirty inside. And
Well,
he-
wait, don't go tell all my dirty laundry. I don't know how clean my clock is, but it's dirty also. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't been
Yeah.
in it.
You know what's weird? He said, you really shouldn't oil it. I think that's crazy. You have to oil it.
Well, the clock guy told me you have to
Yeah.
maintain this thing. If you do, he said it'll last, but if you don't, it'll eventually grind to a halt.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but
You know
yeah,
what?
Manny,
Again,
that
yeah.
would be a good help. I'd really appreciate. I'll be in touch with you privately on it.
Yeah, because
I know
yeah.
I'm going away for a week down to Georgia, but I'll work it in around that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because like if you don't take care of that clock, you would end up needing bushings, and that's going to cost you.
Okay.
Depending
Yeah,
on-
I know. Right. Oh, so Joe, you're still here, and I think Henry,
Yeah.
or I think Al's gone. So he didn't answer my question. We're going to go out there this weekend, and we'll be allowed 10 guests. So if you wanted to bring your telescope out,
You're
and
talking about Muddy
Alan,
Run.
yeah, Muddy Run, and Alan, since you're here, I can throw it out to you also. I don't know if you want to come out. He won't let anybody in the observatory. Don't go thinking you'll get to see the observatory scope, because we're still having problems connecting it to the dome, connecting it to the SkyX. But there's no reason. Bernie was out there last weekend. I think I'm going to go out again. We're trying to play with our astro imaging cameras when we just set up on the pad around the outside there. So if you guys are interested, email me or something, by middle of the week. I'm probably going to set it up for Saturday night. Manny, Chuck, I don't know if you have a telescope, if you'd ever thought of bringing something out like that, but you're welcome to.
One of these days.
Yeah, one of these days.
Okay, so how about I try this for a second? I'll see what you think. I'm gonna I'm gonna jump you right into, I think I thought Denise would stay, but she didn't. I'm gonna jump into that NGC 457. So wait, let me see. Oh, so the host has disabled me from sharing. So Dan, you have to allow me to share my
I
screen now.
may have shared it to the wrong one because I gave it back to you. So it may be
Okay.
on your other one.
I
I don't know which Ted I made host.
Okay, hold on. Well, go ahead, everyone, talk while I'm looking at this thing. I don't
NGC
know.
457, a little ET or Al.
Yeah. That's what I'm going to try. But hold on, let me see. I don't know if I can do it. Because okay,
I
let me
want to
get.
make sure you can get it, and then I want to jump off as well.
Well, let me get you all out of the way. And I used to do it this way. Ted Williams, me host. Allow to. Oh, I got it, Dan. I think.
Cool.
I just made myself a
Yep.
co-host. So if you
Yep.
see this, if you start seeing this play, it'll put you to sleep, okay? That's what it's meant to do. Let me see if I could do this one, everybody. And
You got it.
I think you're there. And let's try giving it a play. Wait. And make sure you hear. Good night, Dan.
Thanks. See yous.
I'll see you. I better get going. I haven't had supper yet. Take care, everybody. Be safe.
Take care.
Why didn't you just stay? All right. Just want to do whatever. Because I gotta go home and get a shower.
Let me put on.
Oh, he's back. All right, well, I gotta go myself.
Sorry, not NGC 457.
Yeah, there's no sound in the background either.
You can't hear it?
No, I didn't hear any sound at all.
Oh, okay. Well, let me end it.
I think I've seen this one already besides. Is that M44 there or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I can hear it through my headphones, but you guys can't hear it.
Well, I couldn't hear it on my end.
Let me see.
Whether or not they did, I can't answer. Are they there? They said they were going to go someplace. I don't know. I got back to your screen in the little corner view.
Okay, so you don't hear me out there, right?
I don't hear anything video, if that's what
You
you
weren't
mean.
able to hear
I
it.
hear you
Okay.
talking all right, but when you're playing the star thing, I don't hear anything.
All right. So I just can't do that one. Sorry, can't do it. Tried it.
Maybe me. I'm not saying necessarily that you, but
No, I tried it on the other machine and I couldn't hear it either.
Oh,
And
you
I
couldn't
think
hear
you and I are the only ones left. I bet you Joel, Ivan, and Henry just have their machines on.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
and I've already seen this one before because I watched it.
okay, well then I
I don't know
won't
if I
play it
watched
live.
it live. I watched it afterwards, but I did see it.
Well, it chased everybody away. So rather than tell everybody to get off, it made everybody get off.
In order it means a clear in the decks, right?
She was pretty. Wait, I should turn my projector. Hold on, so you can't see me. Okay, so yeah, it gets a little difficult here because I got two screens. The one I'm really working on, my computer ahead of me. That's where I see you. Over here, I'm still learning how to use all this stuff. Okay.
But you still got three names up there with just icons.
Yeah, and Henry just texted me. I don't know if you saw it. He says, I'm still here. I just don't have my picture on. So he's spying on us. He can see us.
No picture, no audio.
So that was actually a pretty good talk. I don't know how we're going to follow these two up. We had Robert Noya in September, and then October, Roxanne. I tried to get somebody from Westchester University, but he hasn't replied. I'm also going to try to go back to that NOAA person from whatchamacallit, the National Weather Association. Yeah. But if you know of any guest speakers, Joe, do you have anything going on at your club? Like what's happening over?
You're having arguments over things.
Right.
Yeah.
Does Jerry ever talk again? Does he want to come on? Would he ever
Nah,
come on?
he used to know.
I
He's,
see it. Go by.
he's sort of retired.
Take care, Manny. Have a great
right.
night. I'll be in
Good
touch
night.
with you.
Okay,
Take
good night.
care. Go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's pretty much retired now. He's not doing
Right.
much anything astronomically. He just, hiding in his house.
So he doesn't like. I just say keep going.
I don't know. He seems like running out of gas, like the balloon burst after the eclipse. In 2017, the solar eclipse.
Right.
He was going so intensely. Oh, good night, Henry.
Good night, Henry. Have a good one. Go ahead.
He was just spending so much time and everything, getting ready for it going out, and after all kinds of processing. Once he got all his pictures done, he just sort of like that was the end. He just hasn't done much of anything since. Like he was out for a bit. He took some pictures of the comet back in July, but that was a relatively special event.
Just doesn't seem like, I don't know. Doesn't seem like it would just end. I thought he'd just keep on. Well, I don't know.
I don't know if his health is, some legs are bothering, his knees are bothering him or something, and this and that. It's like me, I'm getting old. Except I've had my episode now. I'm bouncing back a bit. I might even get my 16-inch out soon.
Right. It's kind of odd because I always thought if he kept going that way, it keeps you going. If you just let it all drop.
Yeah, well, I would say the same thing. So I sometimes, he's Jerry. What can I say?
Right.
I feel like falling out anyway. Like so many things, like the South Jersey Astronomy Club. Suddenly, I've noticed like I'm really become a dinosaur down there. A bunch of new guys down there, and they're all photo nuts.
Right.
Me, I'm the great,
visual guy, yeah.
Yeah, giving those guys a hard time. But some of the things they do, they don't even know that, they're showing us a picture of Andromeda, as I like to call the Andromeda Galaxy. And they're just showing the core. They even know that they're only showing us the core. I don't think they even know that because they give you all kinds of stuff about the equipment, the camera, the mount, the kind of wire they're using, this and that. But not a single thing about the astronomical object. I mean, it's just like something's in the sky just for them to point at. That's all it's good for, to point all those, fancy apparatus at.
It's like a technical challenge and they master the challenge, but
although in this day and age, it's not so difficult. It's what 10, 20 years ago, it took a lot of skill and effort.
Right.
Almost anybody wants to spend some bucks can, go slap something together and, get some decent pictures.
Right.
Like one today, somebody posted something like the Orion Nebula. Oh, that's the best picture I've ever seen. I'm thinking, well, the trapezium's completely blown out. What do you mean? That's not, that's like level, that's grade 2 kind of, astrophotography. You gotta get into, the high dynamic range so you can see the trapezium and the rest of the nebula at the same time,
Right.
Yeah, I had a splendid view of that over the weekend. I was at Carranza Sunday morning, comet hunting.
Right.
It was a big night. I saw the thin moon, that's why I missed the meeting. I was actually, I don't know if you got my message, but I was actually trying to log in for my car at Sweden Run.
Yeah, I did get your message.
But I don't know, I couldn't get any talk or whatever's going on. Something was there, but I think the car was getting in the way because it thought it would be dangerous. And I guess always get this thing about you shouldn't do this and drive at the same time. And I finally gave it because I was using the Wi-Fi in the car, which I got a lot of bandwidth and it's actually pretty fast, as opposed to sucking up a little. I have data on my phone, but it just wasn't coming through correct. I could see a couple of windows on there, but that was about it. So I said, and I headed home.
Let me tell Joel before he goes. I don't know if you can hear me, Joel. We'll be
sorry about that.
We'll be out at Muddy Run this weekend. I'm going to be out on Saturday night, and we're allowed 10 people.
Oh, cool.
And again, it's not to go in the observatory, but if you wanted to put your telescope up, we'll be out there. We'll probably do some astro imaging that night. Okay?
All right, let me see if that's feasible with my child care obligations, and we'll
if it
go from
works,
there.
then I'll just email me before the weekend, like before Friday midday. Okay.
Okay.
And I'm just letting a couple people know we're out there, and if you want to bring your scope and set up, it's okay.
No, it would be great. As much as my roof is a fun place,
right.
It's not quite the same thing as being at a good dark sky location.
What, Muddy Run, you mean?
Relative to my roof in Philadelphia, yeah.
Yeah, well, relative to your roof, it's a great spot, but I understand it. There's darker, but that's as far as I'm willing
Cherry
to run.
Springs is a little out of the way these days for me to go to until my children are old enough to go camping.
Well, hang with us. We'll probably still
be going. Comment when I actually go out there.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. It has been years since I was there, and I've really missed going out there.
Right. I'm sorry, Joe. Say again.
Maybe the moon's gonna be around first quarter or so.
Right.
Because the new moon was this past Friday, so it's about a week to the first quarter roughly. And
well, no, Joel's waiting for his children to grow older. He can't go this first moon. He's waiting for the kids to
Well,
get
I
older.
want them to come with me, and
Okay.
they're turning 4. They're a little just on the edge of, I can't make them go in 20-degree weather, basically.
I know. I gotcha. Well, hey,
soon.
thanks for tuning in tonight, and yeah, let me know if you want to come out this weekend. Okay.
Okay, we'll do.
Cool. No problem.
Alrighty.
Good to see you. See you at Astroquara, maybe. Take care.
Yes, hopefully.
Okay.
All right. Well, have a good night.
You too. Enjoy.
Thanks. Bye.
so the Astrocore, that's on Monday, right? The 26th.
Yeah, I think I have. Yeah, let me look. I have to look back.
I'm asking now because I'm writing on my calendar here.
Let me
I
see.
haven't written it yet, so.
Yeah, so I put the. That's November.
No, I just don't worry about that.
Yeah, I put it in for next Monday night. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I should have something by Monday night to play around. Well, we don't have to have an agenda for Astrocore.
Right, that's basically agenda free, really.
Agenda free, yeah. But yeah, any other? So South Jersey, do they have guest speakers at the South Jersey Club? Do they have anybody talk?
I missed the past couple of meetings. No, actually, I've been really out of it the past couple of months, especially last month. It's like in the hospital and stuff like that. So I'm just getting back in the swing. It's like the first time I've really been out. It was the first time I was out to Carranza. Really, is since the spring.
Right. You're looking good.
It was gorgeous.
Right.
Gorgeous out there. A couple I was out. It was just nice to see stars. I was telling you about that. I could see M2. I look up at the binoculars and found it like almost instantly. So I could see my reference. Same thing with Uranus and Neptune. But it's amazing what you can find quickly when you have dark skies, rather than battling like you do in the suburban glow.
Right. I was actually going to try to put the telescope out tonight, but it was cloudy up till sunset, and then I looked right.
It was last Saturday night. In fact, that was actually one of the clearest days and nights I've seen in ages. And you're up in Muddy Run finally, but you never got to.
And we never used the telescope. I know. I was like,
you still got the jinx.
Can you believe it? That was the only night we planned like a whole alternate, so we didn't have to use the scope. Well, remember, the scope's not really hooked up. It's not hooked up to the SkyX software. It's not hooked up to the dome. All the drivers are corrupted again.
About the scope, the actual Muddy Run scope, as opposed to one of your own scopes.
There's two scopes there. They have the camera scope, the astrophotography camera scope, and then they have the observing scope. Well, they always try to fix the one for the camera, and the one for the observing they don't care as much about because we're not really observing. We don't have anybody there. But the problem is Ash had promised us that we'd be able to open these domes remotely, and they've reneged. They can't open. They even came out and retrofitted them with new motors and gear, everything, so that drivers would work. Doesn't work. And
that's you gotta be careful when you say Ash. Stop a minute. It's like you're talking about the Astronomical Society of Harrisburg. Oh no, that's the dome.
No, yeah. No, it's a dome. Ash Dome is out in Indiana.
Yeah.
And Al actually found another one that they put in, also not operational. So there's something crazy that's going on right now that we can't get this thing fixed.
See, that's why I'm glad I'm old-fashioned, completely manual. I got no electronics, no wires, or electronics, nothing to worry about.
I'm telling you, listen to me on. Listen to me on that celestial pillow talk, and I might change your mind. I don't know. I get excited myself looking through it and watching the image grow. So we'll see.
Yeah, see, there's another guy in South Jersey, it's almost like astrophotography, but he's got an image intensifier eyepiece. You ever see? It's like night vision,
Okay,
eyepiece.
Right.
Military, what you look and you see the green and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And he says Pelican Nebula. I said, oh wow, somebody saw the Pelican Nebula. That would be quite an achievement. Then I find out, he was looking at the night vision eyepiece. And then he took a picture of it with his cell phone. It was like just horrible, this green blob. And I would never know it was the Pelican Nebula. And to me, it's like, it's like a weightlifter, bragging because he lifted 2,000 pounds or something. Oh, and I used a forklift, It's like,
right.
Like, oh, it's a big deal.
Wow.
I'm just like, I'm an extra dinosaur.
I don't know. I'm making the transition very slowly, but I am. It causes you to go back and look at sites you looked at before much more intently. I mean, I never sat that long, and let's say that M29. You know, I always looked, okay, there's that 7 or 8 stars I can see, and that'd be it. I just give up on it.
Which is almost questionable. You're not even sure that's a cluster you're looking at that's so sparse.
It's so tiny too. Yeah, I know. So, but
And you know
who
the
knows?
best thing, I didn't want to blurt it out to you, but the best thing between M39 and the Crescent or Bubble, was it the Bubble Nebula? That's where Barnard 168 is, the big black cigar. But you got to be in a very dark place to see that. You're never going to see it from the city. But binoculars, you get this long dark streak. And I always use M39 as my starting point to find it. Oh, you look at it.
And no, I'm writing down some notes. It runs from M39 down to where?
Well, it's between them. It's mostly it's closer to the, what is it, the Crescent or the Bubble Nebula? I forget now.
Okay. I don't know what's over there.
That is difficult to see. Everybody out there, talking about seeing that. Well, even in the pines, I've never been terribly successful at seeing it.
I'm wondering though, with a camera, if you wouldn't be able to pick it out pretty easy, just do an overexposure.
Oh, yeah, with the camera. The other things that, you mean with your video setup? Well,
yeah.
Fairly big, so the question would be field of view.
Okay.
Got to have a big enough field of view, probably at least several degrees, so that you have to get the stars around. You have to pick up because you can't actually see the 160.
Right. You have to see it missing.
See stars around it to see where it's absent. It's sort of like bass backwards.
I'll have to look it up, and I'll look and see where it's at. See if I can't try that. I don't know. I might be biting off too much because remember, I think the nebula.
You're doing pencil, that can make it extra tough if you're doing it for your back deck.
Yeah, I know, but
between the field of view. But if you could pick something like that out, that would be pretty good.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
You got a challenge now.
Yeah, right. Listen, it's just a challenge to get it out there and get all the gear hooked up and do it. So.
Yeah, but you like playing around with it.
Like I said, it's making me look a second time, making me look a lot differently. So.
Well, to each his own. I can't argue with that.
Right. Well, you look all the time, so you're out and you're checking them out. To me, it's like I remember I haven't looked at M29 maybe for 7 years since that mayor's party, since Dilworth Plaza. It was Mayor Nutter. So how far back's that?
Yeah, that's a waste.
Yeah.
I mean, I look at M39 almost regularly with binoculars, just like scanning. Oh yeah, there's M39. Well, at least I'm out in the or something. And I'm around here. I try to look from around here.
But yeah, I felt like it is. It's like, okay, there's the last of the summer sights, man. They're now heading over to the west. My house blocks like the whole western sky, so I only see like up to 45 degrees there.
Well, when I was out Sunday morning, in fact, I saw Orion pretty much on the meridian. I mean, it wasn't just coming up.
Yeah, that's right.
It was already on the meridian.
This morning I was looking at it, and yeah, it might have been right before sunrise. It's over on the meridian now. Because I thought, there it is, the whole hexagon right there, dead center.
Yeah, because I had a terrific view through my spotting scope of M42.
Right.
In fact, actually, the picture from the hooker, I don't even know where that picture came. Was that through the hooker, or is that just some picture she grabbed?
I thought it was taken through the hooker.
Because that was really a disappointing picture, if you ask me. It was like I've seen some small telescope pictures, even visually. The view I had in my spotting scope was vastly superior because I could see most of the nebula. I could see the trapezium was dark. I still don't understand the glow around the trapezium because
I never saw.
I think there was a glow.
Did you see it looked like 2 trapeziums though? There was the trapezium and
the stars you normally don't see visually, certainly not from around here with the ordinary scope. I mean, there are a bunch of stars. Like if you go to Jerry Rodriguez has a page on the trapezium. I forget how many stars he goes down, a whole mess of them. He identifies in pictures and stuff like that. But around here, it's a good night when you can see 6. The 4 are not too big of a deal, but the extra 2 are the trick. And I could not see them, on Sunday morning. But the 4 stars, like 4 little jewels, and the cloud around, and you get a blank spot because those central stars actually blow the gas out.
Right.
They drive gas away, so you get the hole like in the middle.
Makes like a core, like it's eaten out.
It's so weird to see all that glowing. She's talking about all the rain and this huge scope. So was it hazy and or actually see an atmosphere lit up or something? Not really the trapezium nebula. I don't know.
Well, I'm glad you didn't say that during the talk.
Well, there's a whole bunch of things I didn't mention. Like she kept calling it the Mount Griffith Observatory, which I've never heard that before.
Griffith.
fact, when I was looking up the Griffith website, and it's just the Griffith Observatory.
Right.
You know, and it's in Griffith Park. And nobody ever says anything about a mountain. They never heard that. It's named after some guy named Griffith, of course. Of course, a mountain could be too, but they never mentioned anything about a mountain. So, but I don't, you don't want to bring that up.
I heard somebody talk about it before, about calling it Mount Griffith Observatory. Yeah. So.
But the website does not say the website. Just Griffith Observatory, their very own website. So you'd think they would be something of an authority on that, you know.
Yeah, they would know.
But, again, that, nitpicking kind of things, which I stayed away from.
I must be tough. Well, that's why we mute everybody.
Yeah.
Is that what you said? That's why you're muted.
Well, no, well. But anyway, she still is a great presentation and it's very entertaining. So I stopped and said, well, if I talk for that long, I would easily make as many or more mistakes, So it's like, again, I don't want to nitpick. And she does, and she's certainly not an armchair astronomer or anything like that. She does get out and do things.
Right.
So, so she's a real observer.
Well, we'll see. I got to figure out who we're going to get next month. Somebody better wander our way. Well, I'm going to turn it in, Joe. That's
I
got
some stuff to do now.
I think Ivan's dead there. I don't think he's really with us.
Well, you're going to get him off of there soon anyway, right? When you pull the master plug.
Yeah, when I pull the plug, it's going to go down.
All
well, thank you for coming out tonight, and maybe I'll see you next Monday.
I'll give it some thought. I got cars getting serviced tomorrow. It's getting this 1 year service, and then maybe I think when I put some stuff back in it, maybe I'll see if I can fit the 16-inch there. I have to put the 16-inch in this car, and maybe the time is near. Plus, I'm going to go out and look for the Comet with a bigger scope. I think I saw it in the little scope, but so now I got to put some more oomph on it. So the time has come to load the scope.
Well, just give me an email by like midday Friday if you want to come.
Okay.
All right. I'll make sure I look. All right.
Okay. And if I don't
take care,
see you Monday.
Yep. Good talking to you, Joe.
Okay.
Take care.
Good night.
Shut it down. Pull the plug.
Good night.
Good night.